BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Iran says it's prepared to give United Nations inspectors greater access to its nuclear facilities. The head of the UN's nuclear watchdog, Rafael Grossi, told reporters the Iranian authorities had also agreed to install surveillance cameras. Bethany Bell reports.
Mr. Grossi's trip followed the recent discovery of traces of uranium enriched to near weapons-grade level at the Fordo underground nuclear site. Tehran, which says its nuclear work is peaceful, says it restricts uranium enrichment, but acknowledged there may have been what it called unintended fluctuations. The agreement is likely to head off a move to censure Iran at the IAEA's Board of Governors next week. But Western diplomats say Iran has made similar promises in the past that have yielded little or nothing.
Up to 200,000 people have been taking part in demonstrations across Israel in the largest protest so far against the government's planned judicial reforms. The demonstrations were largely peaceful, but footage showed some protesters in Tel Aviv breaking down police barriers and igniting fires as they blocked major roads. Police used water cannon to clear the crowds. Ronan Cohen was at the demonstration to show his support for an independent judiciary.
I'm a very patriotic Israeli guy, and every Saturday night, this is the 9th time that I came here, and I hope that that huge demonstration will affect and prove that we are not going to give up.
China's annual parliamentary session opens shortly for 9 days of meetings that are expected to tighten President Xi Jinping's grip on power still further. The Chinese Premier, Li Keqiang, will open the session by delivering the government's work report. Journalists have taken to the streets in Guatemala to protest against censorship and government intimidation after a judge ruled that 8 reporters covering a high-profile trial should be investigated for obstruction of justice. The journalists were accused of publishing deliberately misleading information about the trial. Leonardo Rocha reports.
The ruling was announced on Tuesday as the editor of the prestigious El Periódico newspaper, José Rubén Zamora, appeared in court for a hearing. Mr. Zamora, who has published several reports on government corruption, was arrested 7 months ago and charged with money laundering. During the hearing, the judge opened a new criminal proceeding against him and accepted the prosecutor's request to investigate 8 other journalists. The ruling caused outrage in Guatemala and abroad. President Joe Biden expressed concern, urging Guatemala's justice system to reject the criminalization of independent journalists.
BBC News. The Russian army and Wagner mercenaries are putting increasing pressure on Ukraine's soldiers to withdraw from the shattered city of Bakhmut. Western analysts say Bakhmut has little strategic value and its capture would have come at a high and bloody cost for Russia. James Landale explains why it matters so much to them.
The Russians desperately need a victory, and they have chosen Bakhmut to be the place where they are most likely to try and do that, and so they are throwing thousands of Russian troops at it, and thousands are dying in the process, and they have yet to succeed. They also, they hope, want to be able to take Bakhmut in an attempt to try and get a springboard, if you like, to further territorial gains in the Donbass. Now, again, that is questioned, challenged by military experts who say, well, you know, taking Bakhmut does not necessarily mean you're only going to take other cities in the area.
2 workers for the International Red Cross have been kidnapped in Mali. The organisation said the abductions took place in a road between the northern cities of Gao and Kidal, an area which has long been a hotspot for violence by Islamist militias. Mali has been gripped by a security crisis since 2012. Kidnappings are common. The Tunisian director Youssef Chaabi has won the top prize at the Pan-African Film and Television Festival known as FESPACO. Judges were unanimous when choosing his film Ashkal, a thriller set in Tunis after the fall of President Ben Ali in 2011. The French football star Kylian Mbappé has become the top goal scorer in the history of his club, Paris Saint-Germain. The 24-year-old World Cup winner scored near the end of PSG's victory over Nantes on Saturday. It was Mbappe's 201st goal in all competitions for the club. BBC News.